This video is going to be for a basic upper body warm-up, and we're going to start with foam rolling. I like to start by foam rolling my back. You want to move about 1 inch per second, nice and slow. You will feel some snaps, crackles, and pops. You'll feel some knots in there too. If you do find any what I call hot spots or knots in the muscle, just kind of work it back and forth a little bit. Front, you can go side to side, whatever you got to do. You can just sit on it if it's a bad knot and try and get it to release. So I started just going up and down the back, and then I roll over, and I like to do my lats. Some people roll their lats up and down. I like to go side to side like this and go by section. I tend to find more knots that way. And of course you want to do both sides as you're going through all of this. Once we get the lats done, we're going to move into working on some thoracic extension. So we want to get the upper back moving and extending. Most of us sit all day, or we're texting, we're on our phones, whatever we're doing, we're always in thoracic flexion. So getting our upper back to extend is one of the main things we want to work on. What we don't want to do is just kind of lay over like the foam roller like this and let everything go loose. True thoracic extension, we keep our abs tight, and all we're doing is we're getting that upper section of the back and the ribs to kind of relax and let loose and extend through their normal range of motion. Now we're going to transition into foam rolling the pectoralis minor. If you do sit all day, more than likely this muscle is really tight. It's about 1 inch below the collarbone, so I like to lay on the foam roller with it lengthwise like this, get it 1 inch below the collarbone, and you can work it back and forth. Foam rolling it this way, I found is easier to keep the foam roller off of this shoulder capsule, which we don't want to loosen up, but we do want to get the pectoralis minor loosened up. The tighter it gets, the more postural issues that it creates. So again, just the end of the foam roller about 1 inch below the collarbone, working it back and forth. If you find some hot spots, as you can see here, I'll start moving my arm up and down and side to side, lifting it up and off, trying to just dig in there and get that tight muscle to loosen up a little bit. Now that the foam rolling is done, we're going to move into some movements and getting different parts of the body moving. These I call shoulder blade punches, just because the arm is locked out, it's straight. The only thing moving is the shoulder blade, and it's going to retract and protract as far as it can. And just we want to get those moving around the body like they normally do. That transitions right into a cat and cow or a cat and camel, which is a smooth movement into full spinal flexion and extension. As you can see here, my thoracic extension is not that great, so what I do instead of moving them all together is I will transition into trying to move each vertebrae individually, and that will kind of retrain the brain to kind of move them segmentally and individually versus just all at once, and hopefully get a little bit more movement out of them the more practice you get with this. Next on the warm-up movement list is bird dogs, and first we find a neutral lumbar positioning. You can use a mirror to do this if you've never done it before. And then it's an opposite arm and leg extension with a full core activation and tension created. So you're not just lifting them and just holding them. The leg is kicked out straight as can be. The arm is straight. You can see I'm making a fist and creating tension all the way down and through the entire spine. I shortened up my holds for the video, but I normally hold each one of these 10 seconds, so that would be a total of 30 seconds of hold time each side. Then we'll transition right into a side plank. We want to make sure our shoulder is, or our elbow is right underneath our shoulder. Our glutes are turned on. I have my feet not stacked here; they're heel to toe. I like to do that because I feel it more in the adductors and the abductors of the hip. I feel it gets a little better all around the hip, but you can stack your legs if you would like to. And you want to do 10 to 15 seconds twice on each side.